Welcome to The Gorgeous Effect, the podcast that's about to rock your marketing world. I'm Julie Chenell, and with my co-founder, Cathy Olson, we're the masterminds behind Funnel Gorgeous and FG Funnels. We're about to drop some serious tea on how to create funnels that not only look amazing, but actually convert into customers. We'll chat mouth-watering offers, copy, design, and give you an inside look of some of our best and worst funnels. No smoke and mirrors, just real strategies that work from two ladies who have been around the funnel block. So grab your coffee or something stronger, we won't judge, and get ready to unleash the gorgeous effect on your business. It's time to show the world what you've got. Let's do this. Hey everyone, this is Julie and Cathy. We are back with another episode of The Gorgeous Effect, and today we are talking about webinars. It has been an amazing couple months working with Launch Gorgeous students on their live webinars, and we are, I don't know, depending on when this podcast airs, we are going to be featuring some of these amazing presentations. It has been an intense few months, has it not?
On all of the fronts.
I know.
Several fronts of intensity.
So if you guys don't know, we run a coaching program twice a year, and it's called Launch Gorgeous. And each round of Launch Gorgeous, we focus on a different type of launch. So this spring, we've been working on live webinars, and we have spent basically 2 weeks on the offer, 2 weeks on the presentation, 2 weeks on the funnel, and 2 weeks on launching. And we're just getting into the launching portion. What do you think has been so hard so far? Hardest, the 2 weeks of the offer, the 2 weeks of the presentation, or the 2 weeks of the funnel building?
All of them. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, it's like new levels, new devils. It's just different, like what's difficult, right? And to be fair, I think, different phases have been difficult for different people. Like some people would like the offer, they were like, oh, I totally know my person, we're dialed in. Other people, and then they got to the presentation and they were like, actually,
My brain is breaking.
I'll say this, you know what? The type of person who's like dialed in on the offer, it's usually the type of person who's really good at selling it, like in person or on the phone. They're like really good at sales. Like they had that down. Like that, they understand their people really well because they have all these like sales conversations. But then when it gets to like writing a webinar of like one to many and selling it to all these people that they're not face to face with, it's like then they hit a wall. They're like, wait, how do I sell it this way? Right. So it's like, so I think it's difficult for different reasons. And then, other people who are just used to sending out an email or telling people, hey, let me grab your credit card, are struggling in the funnel to build the funnel. Right. So it's like,
Yeah.
it just depends on what your strengths already were.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm thinking of a couple people in Launch Gorgeous who had an offer that was already validated and already selling, and they really struggled on the presentation side because it was breaking their brain the way they had to think about it because the offer already lives and breathes and, they understand it so well. Whereas the people who didn't have an offer yet, the presentation part wasn't as hard because you can build the presentation to say whatever you want because the offer doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. But it floats around. There's no, baggage. There's no prior baggage.
But they did struggle with the offer side because they had to like come up with something from scratch. And so I think whether or not you had an offer validated or not, kind of made the decision about whether the offer part or the presentation part was harder. And then the funnel part, I think if you're not tech minded, that always is, it's like a scary monster in the closet that's actually just a jacket, but like you try to convince someone who's tech like fearful and they are convinced it's a monster. And you're like, no, it's just a jacket, I promise. Like tech is not a big deal. But not to them. So we really, really, really try to break down the funnel tech into little itty bitty pieces that make it easy. And we do a lot of the work for you so that there's much less to do. While I'm on this point, if you're listening to this episode and you missed Launch Gorgeous and you want to do a webinar funnel, our next Launch Gorgeous accelerator is at the end of June. So if you go to launchgorgeous.com, you can see the accelerator is like a 2-day quick sprint. So if you didn't finish Launch Gorgeous or you missed one, you can kind of get the curriculum and get the funnel built. We have our team on hand. And the first one we did in February got rave reviews. People got so much done. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the accelerator. And we host them 4 times a year. So I want to tell a story, if you don't mind, because the Launch Gorgeous students haven't launched their webinars yet, but 2 private clients did the Launch Gorgeous curriculum ahead of time and did their webinar. And it was so crazy how exactly the same their experience was in completely different niches. Both of them had smallish audiences, so like 2,000 or less people on their list, right? Both of them had very small numbers of people register and attend. Both of them had about a 10 to 12% show up rate. Both of them did the webinar choreography exactly as we teach it. One was in the business space, one was in the customer space in health. Both of them were launching products that were between $500 and $800. Both of them had zero sales on live, and both of them ended up in my Voxer freaking out.
Well, as one does if they have zero sales after all of that hard work.
Yeah, well, it was kind of crazy to watch both of these things happen, and I felt, it's really hard because like none of us have a crystal ball, right? We all want to know like what's going to happen? Is it going to sell? Like we know this choreography works. I have repeated it enough times with enough people across enough industries to see higher than average conversion rates, but like sometimes it doesn't hit. And in both of their cases, the main reason was number one, they were not experienced at pitching, right? So there was some
Mhm.
issues there. Number two, they had tiny audiences, right? So it's really hard to see if something works when you only have a few people. And number three, both of them did not trust the process and felt like they had to like one of them was like, "Oh, this offer isn't going to work. I have to get rid of this offer." One's like, "I have to go get a job," like spinning out.
Oh no.
But the
And
good
this was
news,
just right after the live webinar, like they
yeah,
got
within
off of it.
hours.
Okay.
Yes.
So they didn't give it any breathing room, just the
I was like, both of them wanted to either dismantle their offers, figure out what they did wrong, uh, like figure out what they have to do next. And I just kept saying, run the play, run the play, run the play. Like send out the emails, send out the replay, just run it. Both of
Yeah,
them.
you've come too far to quit now. Just keep going, even though you didn't get the live sales.
Both of them ended up with 13 sales each.
Oh, wow. But oh,
Yep.
wait, they both exactly 13.
I'm pretty sure both of them.
Lucky,
Maybe it
lucky
might have been
13.
one was 12 and one was 13, but I have to go
Oh
back and check. I
man,
think it was they both had 13 sales at the end. It was so weird how eerily similar these two people were.
that's crazy. So yeah, so that goes to show you that even yeah, don't break everything and not finish the process and not trust the process, even when someone doesn't buy live.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think people expect that they're gonna like, people think, oh, the offer's the problem is hard, or the presentation's hard, or the tech is hard. And everyone thinks, oh, but when it comes time to actually sell, I'll be fine. I'm like, do you realize that's the skill that you actually have to practice over and over and over again? Because people can sense energy, and they can sense change in body language, they can sense change in tone and volume. I took both of their transcripts, put them into Chat GPT, because I've trained ChatGPT on all my choreography, and I said both of these ladies did the curriculum exactly. I personally reviewed it myself. I knew both offers were excellent and well priced. They had done everything right. I said, but both of them got zero live sales. Tell me why. And it completely evaluated all of the energetic changes in their voice and their
Mhm.
timing and their pace and suggested that that was the reason why nobody sold live.
It's interesting because you made me realize that there's really kind of two sales periods in every live webinar. There's the live sales and then there's the after, right? Like everything. And so what you're saying is they didn't do as good of a job on the live sales, but they saved it with the post, production, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what
Yeah.
whatever that second
The
half would be.
replay launch or
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
open
So
card
that,
or
so yeah,
whatever.
that like the actual like launch, right? Which is like a normal launch, which when you don't go live, right? So it's
Right.
everything after that. So it's like you still save it by the emails and the follow-ups and like crushing objections and all
Personal
your
outreach.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all the stuff that we have like figured out that afterwards stuff. So like that sale went well, but just the live sale, which that's good news because that is repeatable. Both of those, like just repeat the second half, but then now you have one thing to tweak. So it's really just like, okay, just you're just tweaking the live sale component.
Right. And nobody pays attention to this. They think, "Oh, I got it. And I'm like, no, there's like a lot of skill to live selling that people don't realize. One thing that these two ladies had at their advantage that every Launch Gorgeous student will also have to their advantage is that despite the fact that they were kind of catastrophizing about what went wrong, I was able to remind them, the offer is good. The webinar choreography is good. The price is good. Like all of these things were like checked off.
Yeah,
Whereas if you
don't break those things.
right, and they were like ready to go break those things. I was like,
Yeah.
no, 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 those are good. Those things are good. And so they had that sort of assurance, like, no, I don't have to go dismantle the offer. The offer is good. I have to learn how to sell better. Like, I don't have to dismantle the price. The price was right. I did the offer stack. I made it, lower than the customer expectation price. Oh, I have to redo my webinar. No, you don't. The webinar choreography was tight. And so once I pointed out these things and then they waited and saw that they actually got sales, they now had a tangible takeaway of like, oh, I just have to practice selling, which is exactly why we launched this weekly live webinar, because you have to do it every week so that you get better at it so you can
Yeah.
start to see what is working.
Yeah. And then, once you have that one that you made a lot of sales on live, you switch that one on replay. And that's your new replay one. So that, so that you're literally getting your best version of live selling. Because I do think that yes, all of the follow up, makes a difference, all the emails and everything. But still, the biggest probably lever is the actual presentation, right? Is so like, once you do get a presentation that closes a bunch or like a high percentage, right? Not just like because it depends on how many people are on, right?
Yep.
Like percentage wise, whichever one has the best conversion, like you showed up the best that day. So like that's probably the one that you should use, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I thought it was super interesting to watch these ladies go through, see how similar. I always tell people, like, if you can get 10 students in a beta launch, like, just imagine what a room of 10 students looks like. It's a great number of students to like pilot something. Both of them were piloting new programs. So I was thrilled. They were thrilled. And, I love to be like, I told you so when it means that they make money. But it was, I was just thinking how many people dismantle things because they don't know what lever to pull.
Right. Yeah, if you don't know what was like like you don't have trust in the process, period, right? Then
Hmm.
you will break it before it even before the process has a chance to play out, which is interesting because like that's actually a really good skill to like move quickly and pivot and be like, okay, let's move. But in this situation, it's like you have to sit on your hands. Like, what got you? Like, you're a get stuff doneer personality is not it's not going to
Working
work
for
for
you
you.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to work against you when you need to trust the process. So that's like why it's so important to have a trusted process so that you're not ruining the wrong thing, but like also you're not spinning out. You're like, okay, well, the one variable that is not working here is this, so this is what we have to fix.
Yeah, and that's the variable that most people miss. That's the variable no one wants to pay attention to. They want to blame the offer, they want to blame the choreography of the webinar, the slide deck, they want to blame the email deliverability. I'm like, no, it's you pitching. Like that's literally the variable that nobody takes into consideration. But
The
obviously,
human element,
if you're not following a trusted process, then
right?
it's anybody's guess what's
It could be
causing.
anything at that
Yeah, it
point.
could be anything. Last week we were at the Digital Insiders Mastermind, and Lindsay Williams, who is one of my private clients, she's an FG funnels user. She's part of the FG community. She did a presentation on her weekly live webinar. And I think one thing that people took away was she has been doing a weekly live webinar since August, and she has gotten so skilled at understanding what each week she tracks how many people are on live, how many buy in the replay. She even tracks what questions does she answer in the chat that reduce urgency and make people sit on their heels versus questions that propel people to buy. Like, and because she's done it every week, she has that data, right? And it's simple and it's like, right? And so I think everyone walked out of that room being like, man, I have to find a product, an offer that I can commit that level of commitment to because it really is such a high leverage activity if you can dial in your webinar.
Yeah, I'm excited to do ours. But you're gonna have to tell me which questions to not answer. Because when I'm on there, I'm gonna be like, answer all the questions. You're gonna be like, hey,
I know.
this question. Well, I don't know if we'll know that until we do it, right? But
Well,
eventually
yeah.
we'll know. We'll know. Like we'll dial it in as well. But I think it's exciting, and I think that it's interesting that like some people will write it off entirely. They'll say, oh, live webinars are not working. Like that's like that's like a dangerous statement
I know.
because again, if it's like the way that you're pitching it is not working, then but now they're going to write off the entire funnel as a consequence, and that sucks. But that makes sense. So just like to think about this in perspective for you guys, if you're thinking, oh, why, how come some people say live webinars work and other people say they don't work? This is why. Right? It's like you're not trusting a process, or you don't have a process. You don't have a funnel that's built out like pre-tested. You don't have anything that's battle, worn that's been
Yeah.
through it. And so you're gonna write off the whole thing. You're gonna like flush out the whole idea when you don't have that trusted process. So you should definitely, if you've tried live webinars before and you had an issue with them, know that they do work and they are working, and we have all kinds of proof to prove that. And you should get into the accelerator, because I think that especially if you already are good at pitching, you really need to get in, because you're gonna have like that's the hardest part, right? And then you're gonna have everything else kind of laid out for you. So yeah,
Yeah.
you should grab it.
I mean, in this presentation I gave last week, I said, pick something you're willing to commit to for at least 6 months because, we're going to roll out our webinar and we're going to do it in the summer, which is, consistently usually the lowest time. So if we quit in the summer because like sales are low, but we haven't gone through, a Q4 or, a New Year's. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to test it. I'm excited to track it. It's been a long time since I've done a weekly live webinar. In fact, I don't think I've ever done a weekly live webinar. I've always just done random webinars. But we're going to be rolling it out. We're going to be drinking our own Kool-Aid, following our exact own process. So yeah, I'm just preaching this from the rooftops because it is a great way to focus your energy and the most amazing type of funnel I think that you can.
With a really high lever like puller, right? So that's it's worth it. It's worth, doing every single week. I mean, you're doing some kind of marketing every week anyway. What's the difference? That at that point, like pretty
Right.
soon you're gonna be able to do it with your eyes closed and not looking at anything, right? And so it's like that's probably gonna be one of the easiest days that we have is showing up and doing the webinar,
Exactly.
right? I'm excited to get to kind of that point of cool, we've tested it enough. This is the one that works. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
and have a machine that we can just have a lever that we pull. And then we just throw as much traffic as we want into it once it's nice and well oiled and working really
Well
well.
oiled running. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging with us. I hope we've inspired you. As always, if you have any comments, reflections, or requests for topics, just hit us up in Instagram DMs at Funnel Gorgeous. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We're just getting started with this podcast, and we're so excited to have you on this journey with us. If you found value in today's episode, we'd be over the moon if you'd consider subscribing. It's like a virtual high five that keeps us going. And hey, if you're feeling extra gorgeous, leaving a review would mean the world to us. Your words not only make our day, but it also helps other amazing folks just like you find our show through your review. Lastly, if you know someone who could use a little sales pep talk, why not spread the love? Share this episode and let's grow this gorgeous community together.